Hello, good morning. Today's thought for the day is it's another blue sky, and it's quite cool at the moment before the sun really gets up in the morning. I think all of us have at some stage had a encounter with separation, as in divorce, girlfriends going ass about face, whatever. And so it's a well-trodden road that we've probably all been in at some point in our lives. The one thing about the Philippines, though, is that not particularly, I would say, only in the Philippines, but for the vast majority in the Philippines, they clearly love gossip. They love scandal. But they also have the inbuilt reality of safe face saving, which not just in the Philippines, but in most Asian countries. You have to ask yourself, what is face saving? It's an attempt to put the best side forward and not accept anything that is derogatory or maybe bad towards them. And quite often it's between one person and another. It's not always between one family and another, unless of course you have a family feud between two adjoining families or nearby families who just loathe each other. But that's, again, that can happen anywhere in the world. You can dislike your neighbor for years. 20 years I've lived there, and I hate those people, and I'm sure vice versa. But here in the Philippines, it's built into their DNA in a way. It's if something is not right, but they want to make it right, they will save face. They will create a completely different narrative to what is the truth, only to ensure that they remain at the top of the pile in terms of stature. That's why I'm sure that when Filipinos and foreigners split, and this is really only about foreigners, I'm sure that the family are told one thing and the other. And that's the whole point of it. It's working quite often in bluff. They're very good at bluffing their way through problems rather than the reality of dealing with the truth. If you are part of a scandal, you are part of something that you really don't want your family to think badly of you, what would you do? You would deny it. You would create a new narrative so that it makes the other side look worse. Of course, they don't care if you lose face, and 9 times out of 10 they'll wait till you're gone before they start their little rumour mongering. But that's what they do. That's the mentality of so many. Some can't be bothered, just like we can. We can go through life and think, oh well, poor person. Not poor in money, but poor little sod. And that's probably the best way to approach it. Why add more fuel to the fire? And sadly, that many good relationships that are formed in the Philippines often end up in destruction simply because of saving face. When we first started this, I say we, because it was started up with we when I first started the other channel. It was an exciting adventure. It was something new. Certainly to me it was. I'd never put myself out there before I came to the Philippines. But it was a shared excitement. And yes, there was a hope, a wish maybe, for my Filipina to maybe benefit and assist the daughter in her college education, to lessen the burden upon myself. Did that happen? Not really, but at least the money went into her pocket, and nobody regrets that. I have no problem with that. In a way, it's like a handy little bonus for her every month. But over the last year and a half, it's become harder to accept the end of a relationship. It's also hard to accept that I've been made a fool by those around me. There are rumors spreading about me already, which I always have to try and undo. But once the seed is planted, it's always there. And of course, I'm just waiting for the arrival of other members of the family at the doorstep to offer their condolences and support to the injured party. Not me. The injured party, of course, is the one that maybe caused all of this in the first place by deciding to dump me. And therefore, one feels sorry in a way. Not, well, I mean, obviously I'm disappointed, but I'm not completely surprised, given that there has been a number of issues that have been raised, mainly as a result of having a channel talking about different things that can happen to a family. For a Filipino, they just don't get the concept, hypothetically. If you talk about things that maybe affect you out there, you other foreigners, many Filipinos will reply in the comment section, maybe wives of foreigners who watch these videos, and there are many. They concur a lot of the things that I have to say. And therefore, it's encouraging to see that I haven't got off the mark. It does happen. Sadly, it's not just for me, it's for others. And I'm trying to highlight the fact that these things can happen. I'm not trying to highlight anything about my own personal everyday life. But there are moments where I can describe situations that happen. But of course, for a Filipino, they see that as in a way, a personal attack on themselves. And I feel it's a bit like my mother used to say. Yes, she was American. If the cap fits, wear it. It's not a concept that they can get their head around. And that is that in one hand, I should say, they're happy to have the money come in every month from a channel. But they're not happy that you necessarily talk about things that are maybe close to her bone, not necessarily your own. But they also need to be discussed. Because so many of the channels here paint a picture of almost like El Dorado. It's just a complete fake impression of the Philippines. The Philippines is no different from living anywhere else in the world physically. It's a beautiful country, lovely weather, peaceful environment. And yes, you can live in the city and join the rat race. You can live in BCG or B whatever it is, Makati, and live the big high life. But it'll cost you. If you choose to live in the provinces, you'll have a more laid-back life, one where the old village life still really resonates around the area. People say good morning to you every day, call you by name often. And you don't know them, but they know you. So the rumours have certainly got around over 10 years. And it's a lovely feeling to feel in the absorbed into the community. Not necessarily accepted, but certainly awareness that you are part of this everyday view for them too. I don't believe it's a case of envy on behalf of our neighbours and acquaintances in the area that they go every day past this house and think, well, I mean, I think it sometimes when I come back from going into town or into the city, how lucky I've been to build something that I truly wanted to be that word, a legacy, for when I'm dead. Not a legacy that you can strip me of my assets now while I'm living, but a legacy that will be eventually left to essentially the girls. And I still feel that way. I don't like the thought that maybe somebody else is going to benefit, man or woman, but there is a tendency when two parties are in conflict. I get it sometimes from my friends saying, you should do this, John, you should do that. But I do know that a Filipino is susceptible to persuasion, susceptible to what is really ludicrous ideas generated by those that follow her and encourage her to stand up and to stand her ground, do that. But they're not in that. But they seem to forget very quickly, whilst they support maybe her actions and dispel mine, they have to think, what happens if one day it happens to them? Is this just a dry run for them to discover that the person they've now connected to, my ex or my wife or my girlfriend, whoever she might have been, this is figuratively speaking and hypothetically, maybe she is getting a taste of what might come to her too, or him too. So one should always be careful that you don't wish something upon yourself that you maybe didn't desire in the first place. And we all have to be careful what we say, especially being a guest in the country, because inevitably we will always have this threat hanging over us. I'll get you deported. I'll get you into trouble. I'll make accusations against you. I don't care. You've heard them. You guys have spoken about it, about your wives, your girlfriends, saying these things to you. So it's not just me, it's you as well, and other foreigners that often hear these statements. But life goes on. Don't take it to heart. The wind will blow the anger away, and once they need some more money, they'll put on a smile and be nice to you for 5 minutes until they've got what they want. But remember that word? No. No more. No. No more. No. So if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you again shortly. Bye now.